What comes into your mind when you hear the word love? Maybe you'll think of that very first time when you felt you were in love. If you're a parent, you might be thinking of the first time you held your baby. I was looking at a family photo album, and I was feeling love when I looked at the faces of my parents, my grandparents, my sister, my best friend, even a beloved family pet. Those are all feelings of love. But as we learn, love is more than just a feeling. Love, real love, requires something of us, an action, very often a sacrifice. That's the love Jesus is trying to teach us about in this Sunday's Gospel when he says, "Love one another as I have loved you. This is my commandment." Is that even humanly possible? In Acts 2, St. Luke tells us about the early followers of Christ, followers of the Way, as it was known before it was called Christianity, and how they had spiritual practices which held them together in faith and in community. One of those we've come to know as radical hospitality. Radical from the Latin root, which means root, foundation. For them, radical hospitality meant holding all things in common and distributing them according to each one's needs. That might be difficult in today's society, but the premise of radical hospitality stays with us and remains very durable. Last week I was reading about a young woman about to graduate from high school. She asked her parents not to have a graduation party, but to take the money they would have spent on the party and donate it toward relief efforts for the victims of the earthquake in Nepal. Then she wrote a note to her family and friends and asked them to do the same. I thought, that is radical hospitality. Here is a young woman who feels connected with people she's never met, people on the other side of the planet. This week, as we contemplate the kind of love Jesus had for us, and the kind of love he's asking us to extend to one another, let's look for those random acts of kindness that we can extend throughout the week. Those acts are the seeds that grow into radical hospitality. They're looking at one another with new eyes, and they're giving from a place deep within our heart, a place where love begins.
God's love is everlasting. God's love will never end. God's love is everlasting. God's love will never end. Who created the earth? Who divided the seas? Who set the heavenly lights? The sun to rule the day, the stars at night. God's mercy endures